Welcome to another Walter Football video. I'm Charlie Campbell, Senior Draft Analyst, the most accurate mock drafter in the world. All right, so we just have had some really significant games in college football in recent weeks. A lot of moving parts, a lot of fluid draft stock these days, especially among the quarterbacks. So I figured let's just get in another mock draft here since we are mid-October, halfway through the college football season. Let's kind of check in on that. So, no, and this order is based on the current order going into Week 7 in the NFL. So, first overall pick, I have the Jets taking Dante Moore, quarterback from Oregon. He definitely has an NFL arm, can throw the ball accurately downfield, would give the Jets a quarterback that could run that system, the same system that the Lions have with Jared Goff, just in terms of a guy with pocket passing potential that can rip a defense through the air. So I think Moore has that potential. We need to see more from him. It was underwhelming, his game against Indiana, but he's a young player, first-year starter. He's going to have some growing pains and need development, so but he's also had shown some real flashes of brilliance as well early in the early going here of 2025. So right now have Moore as the top quarterback to come off the board next April. Second overall, I have the Browns taking Fernando Mendoza, quarterback from Indiana. Mendoza has real pocket passing potential, throws accurately, smart, good timing, anticipation as a quarterback. I think he definitely would be a nice fit there in the Kevin Stefanski offense in Cleveland. So I think Mendoza could work well there for the Browns as the second overall pick. Third overall, I have the Ravens taking Keldrick Falk, the defensive lineman from Auburn. Really tough edge setter, will be a contributor in the pass rush, tough against the run. Think he could really be a nice player for the Ravens next to Matabuke. Fourth overall, I have the Dolphins taking Spencer Fano, the right tackle from Utah. He has the skill set where he could play either side. He's super athletic, really quick, explosive out of his stance, strong, physical in the ground game, can mirror on speed rushers, really has an excellent skill set, would just be a plug-and-play upgrade for the Dolphins on their weak offensive line. Fifth overall, I have the Saints taking Lenoris Sellers, quarterback from South Carolina. It's been kind of a disappointing season from Sellers up to this point, but keep in mind last year he caught fire at the final stretch of the season and really started to play well. Wouldn't surprise me if that happens again, but he is very raw. He needs a lot of development. Team sources think he should go back and play more college football before going to the NFL. He has some Anthony Richardson kind of elements to his game, which is concerning in terms of the inconsistency on the accuracy. Obviously, he has a power arm, great runner, amazing escapability. So there's a lot of tools there, and we know that NFL teams easily fall in love with tools, and they say, I can work with them and develop all that. So I could potentially see that with a team like the Saints, who could use a franchise quarterback. We'll see if Tyler Shough gets to play and gets to, take away that concern for the Saints and is the long-term guy. But up to this point, I don't think Spencer Rattler has played well enough to say for sure that he's the future of the franchise. So but definitely very interesting to see how the quarterback situation plays out in New Orleans the rest of this season. Sixth overall, I have the Titans taking Jordan Tyson, wide receiver from Arizona State. Give Cam Ward a true number one receiver. Seventh overall, I have the Bengals taking Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State. They could really use a difference maker in that secondary and a player that can really solve some problems on the back end of their defense. I think Downs would be a great fit in Cincinnati. Eighth overall, I have the Raiders taking Caden Proctor, the left tackle from Alabama. They could move him to the right side, give them a bookend to go with Colton Miller. Proctor would definitely improve their ground rushing offense and the blocking up front for Ashton Genty, improve the pass protection for Geno Smith. So I think Proctor would be a nice fit there in the Chip Kelly offense. Ninth overall, I have the Giants taking Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU. I think they could use a true number one in their defense, and that'll even make their pass rushers even more dangerous if you're able to play man coverage and you kind of have the coverage synced up with the pass rush on the back end. They'll be even tougher defensively. 10th overall, I have the Cardinals taking Jude Bowery, the left tackle from Boston College. Really nice player, sleeper, kind of going under the radar, but the Cardinals definitely could use more offensive line help. Jonah Williams is aging, expensive, has durability issues. Bowery could step in there, and they could get younger and cheaper and give them a bookend to go with their Ohio State kid. All right, next up I got Houston at 11th overall. I have them taking Isaiah World, the tackle from Oregon. He's big, super athletic, just massive man on the outside. Really tough to get around him. I think he's got a lot of potential. I'd like to see him get a bit stronger and more physical and nasty in the ground game. But the ability for him to be a starting edge protector is there, and I think he'd be a really good fit in Houston. 12th overall, I have Dallas taking David Bailey, the edge rusher from Texas Tech, Stanford transfer. Give them a speed rusher for that defense and replace what they lost in Micah Parsons potentially. 13th overall, I have the Panthers taking Peter Woods, the Clemson defensive tackle. He could be a 3 technique to go next to Derek Brown, improve their pass rush from the interior. Then they got to hope that Nick Scorton and Princely Manamelian kind of solve the edge. And then they have a strong young defensive line there around the great Derek Brown. 14th overall, I have the Chiefs taking Denzel Boston, the wide receiver from Washington. Give them a true big number one kind of possessional receiver, a guy that can be that go-to player on third downs as Kelsey ages out, but give them a receiver in the short to intermediate part of the field that can work the slants and kind of the staple routes of the West Coast offense, the digs, and just really give them something that they've really, I think, been lacking. They have a lot of smaller speed receivers, but I think they could use kind of that workhorse, bigger possessional guy on that offense. 15th overall, I have Washington taking Jeremiah Love, running back from Notre Dame. I think they have, they've rotated a few guys in there, but they don't have anyone as talented as Love. I think he'd be a steal at the 15th pick in the draft. I think it would be really difficult for defenses with the zone read plays with Jaden Daniels as to which guy is going to run with the ball. They're both so talented in terms of make a guy miss, and Love can run over a guy, can juke him. He's just such a versatile back and excellent receiver. I think he'd be a great fit in the offense. I think it'd be a big upgrade for Washington. 16th overall, I have the Bears taking Ruben Bain, the defensive end from Miami. I know others probably have him higher, but Bain is a tweener at 6'3", 275. He's a tackle end tweener, so don't be surprised if NFL teams end up having him a bit lower than maybe where the media hype suggests, and I'll be digging into that. But the Bears obviously could use more defensive end and defensive line talent. Give them a guy to pair with Montez Sweat. 17th overall, I have the Rams taking John Mateer, the quarterback from Oklahoma. Mateer, the tape from last season against when he was with Washington State's really impressive. Started out the year really well with Oklahoma. Then he has the thumb injury, rushes back, is supposed to be out about a month. He comes back in only 17 days, then played poorly against Texas. The receivers at Oklahoma are bad. He's trying to do too much, and I think that could end up hurting him for the draft. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going back to school, but I think if he does come out, there's a ton of talent to work with. He's very accurate. There's a few throws every game that seem to get away from him, but other plays he just makes some brilliant throws. Dangerous runner, very similar play style to Baker Mayfield. And the Rams with 2 first-round picks, I think this is a great year if the quarterback prospect is there to draft that understudy for Matthew Stafford. Let him develop. Give him plenty of time and coaching and development from Sean McVay, and then use the other first-round pick to upgrade the roster and try and win now with Stafford. So I think that'd be a tremendous and absolutely brilliant plan for the Rams next year if they're able to execute it, and if the quarterbacks, kind of live up to being worthy of one of their picks. 18th overall, I have the Vikings taking Avion Terrell, cornerback from Clemson, the younger brother of A.J. Terrell with the Falcons. Avion Terrell is a smooth, fast, athletic cover corner, can run the route, prevent separation. I think the Vikings could really use a cornerback like that, especially with the receivers in their division. 19th overall, I have the Bills taking Jermod McCoy, cornerback from Tennessee. He's been injured. I think sounds like he'll be coming back soon. But he's very talented. The tape from 2024 was super impressive. So I think he could pair with Maxwell Harrison and Benford and give the Bills a really nice trio there for that defense. Obviously, Trey White is not a long-term player at this point of his career. 20th overall, I have the Broncos taking Francis Magoa, the right tackle from Miami. Big physical tackle. Maybe will end up kicking inside the guard, but you start him out at tackle, see how it works before you make that move, I think. But they could get younger and cheaper, let Mike McGlinchey go after a while, maybe start Magoa out at guard, and then when McGlinchey's done, you move him to right tackle. 21st overall, I have the Browns taking Will Lee, cornerback from Texas A&M. Big, long, quick corner. Could be give them a really nice trio with Denzel Ward and Tyson Campbell. Let's see, where are we? 23rd overall, I have the Lions taking... Wait, I'm sorry, lost my spot. Yep, that's the Browns. I had taking Will Lee. 22nd overall, I have the Rams taking Amari Farrell, cornerback from Indiana. Really interesting player. I might be moving him a bit lower just because the skill set doesn't blow you away, but what does impress you is the splash plays that Farrell comes up with. Last year, he was just a dynamic presence for that Hoosiers defense. He's continued to make splash plays this year, so it's one of those players that it's difficult because you don't see the kind of twitchy athlete and speed that a lot of teams want in a defensive back, but you see the instincts and ball skills that they want. So really interesting player, but I think the Rams do need more long-term solutions at the cornerback position. They've done a really nice job in the years since getting rid of Jalen Ramsey, which was a smart move on their part, of kind of picking through late round guys and cheap free agents and patching together a secondary good enough for them to make it to the playoffs and back-to-back seasons here, but I think they need some long-term answers. Speaking of long-term answers, I have the Lions taking Danae Dennis Sutton, the defensive end from Penn State, at pick 23. I think they need a long-term end to go with Aiden Hutchinson. Hutchinson will get a huge contract, have a rookie across from him on the cheap 5-year deal, first-round talent to pair with him. Josh Paschal's a solid football player, but he has impossible for him to stay healthy, it seems. Then, of course, that's pretty much the same story with Marcus Davenport. And Al Muhammad was a nice addition for them, and bringing him back was a smart move. But they could continue to have him and then have a third guy. But they obviously could use more young edge rush talent to go with Hutchinson. 24th overall, I have Seattle taking Chris Bell, the wide receiver from Louisville. Give them a physical, possessional receiver to go across from Jackson Smith-Njigba. Bell reminds me of A.J. Brown coming out of Ole Miss. Just put together really well, faster than you expect, a little more twitchy than you expect. He's a sleeper receiver that I think could end up being really nice steal and value for someone in this draft. 25th overall, I have the Patriots taking Nick Harbor, wide receiver from South Carolina. Very much debated prospect. He's got amazing size, speed, was a track athlete, 6'5", 220, can run like the wind, but he's very raw. Hands aren't great. Route tree needs development. So the skill set is there for him to be special, but he definitely needs some development. But the Patriots could use more long-term receivers for Drake May, who's been tremendous, who I had as the number one player on my big board almost from start to finish in that draft class, and he's making me look good there. So I think, but continuing to add more receiving talent is going to be necessary there in New England. 26th overall, I have the Chargers taking Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon. Give them a mismatch weapon at tight end. He'd be a great fit for Jim Harbaugh. He blocks his tail off. He is really ferocious for a tight end that isn't that big. It's impressive how hard he fights as a blocker. And so I think he'd be a great fit there for the Chargers. He'll contribute in the ground game, give them another mismatch weapon for Justin Herbert. I love that pick for Los Angeles. 27th overall, I have the 49ers taking Caleb Lomu, left tackle from Utah. Give them an understudy for Trent Williams. They could start him out at guard or right tackle, find their best 5 offensive line, and then in time when Williams is done, you got Lomu ready to take over at left tackle. 28th overall, I have the Eagles taking Zion Young, the defensive end from Missouri. Really impressive football player. Big, strong, fast, athletic, tenacious. Was really impressed with how he played against Alabama. He had a few penalties, kind of mental mistakes, but the physical talent and the way he was getting into the backfield was very impressive. So I think he'd be a really nice fit with the Eagles and a real true replacement for Brandon Graham. All right, 29th overall, I have the Cowboys taking Arvell Reese, linebacker from Ohio State. He has just been phenomenal this year, showing the ability to drop in coverage, snuff out runs. I think he'd be a great fit in Dallas and give them more stability and run defense in the middle of their defense. 30th overall, I have the Steelers taking Garrett Nussmeier, quarterback from LSU. Nussmeier has a good arm. He's smart. He's accurate. This season hasn't blown it away, but at the same time, I know he's going to interview well with teams. He has really strong football IQ. I think enough teams are going to feel through the interview process that he can be a starter. He is accurate. He does have enough arm talent. Not a running threat like a Lamar Jackson, but not a statue in the pocket either. So when you're picking late in the first round, you're not going to get typically an elite quarterback prospect, and obviously Aaron Rodgers is not a long-term answer in Pittsburgh. 31st overall, I have the Bucs taking Harold Perkins Jr., the linebacker from LSU. Give them an understudy for Levante David. 32nd overall, I have the Colts taking LT Overton, the defensive end / tackle from Alabama. Really versatile defensive lineman. You can line him up as a 5 technique, 3 technique. He's tough at the point of attack, disruptive, quick to shoot a gap and get upfield. I don't know what that was. But I think Overton would be a really nice fit there on the Colts defense. They could use some interior youth. I think in the NFL, the best plan for him would be to try and add a little more weight, a little more strength, and have him be a 3 technique defensive tackle. Use that speed to fire that gap and get upfield and cause disruption behind the line of scrimmage. All right, let's get to the teams without a first-round pick. At 48th overall, I have the Falcons taking Connor Lew, the center from Auburn. He's a really nice football player, really well-rounded, tough in the run game, battles, good strength, can get to the linebackers, quick, really excellent in tandem blocks with guards. I think he's a very safe pick to turn into a good starter and give them a reliable center to work with Michael Penix for years to come. Then 52nd overall, I have the Jaguars taking Caleb Banks, the defensive tackle from Florida. He's been injured, but prior to the injury, and so the way he finished last season, he looked like a potential top 20 guy. So, I think obviously there's some risk there, but for a team like the Jaguars, when you don't have a first-round pick, getting a first-round talent in the second round is good value for them, and you just take the risk, the fact that he's coming off injury, but assuming he comes back from that injury, you got a beast of a defensive tackle that should have been a first-round pick if he just hadn't gotten injured. So that's the latest mock draft I have. I got tons of stuff coming up, of course. We got all the position rankings being updated consistently. Walt's mock, my mock, getting updated each week. You can click the link below to check out the rest of round 2. And, of course, check out Walt's picks. And I got college preview, each week, looking at the top games and who are the prospects to key on and the matchups to key on for the draft. So we got, Monday Morning Draft, of course, is a popular article. Get a lot of feedback on, and terms of matchmaker for teams and prospects, and the hot seat tracker for coaches and top candidates for the teams, and the race for the number 1 pick, and spotlighting each franchise at different times, looking at where they stand heading into next year in the offseason and the draft. So check out all that stuff on Walter Football. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all you guys for watching. You guys take care. I'll be back with you soon.